Welcome to the Village Vision podcast, where community collaboration and care converge. I'm Dr. Crystal Morrison, and I'm honored to be your host on this incredible journey. As a firm believer in the power of a united village, I'm thrilled to bring you inspiring stories, research, and projects that break down barriers in child and family care. Through heartfelt conversations with experts, advocates, and those with lived experiences, we'll showcase the transformative impact of collective support. So join me on the Village Vision podcast as we explore the remarkable collaborations that lead to better outcomes, foster a sense of community, and inspire action to improve care for ourselves and everyone around us. Welcome, Dr. McClain.
Thank you so much for that introduction.
So we had the opportunity to meet at the National Autism Conference, a great conference, and we hit it off, of course, have lots of shared interest, really interested to talk more about Paragon and CatapalloVR. But as with almost everybody that we talk to at the Village Vision podcast, there's always the why behind their work. There's elements of their personal story that led them to doing the things that they're doing today. So, Dr. McClain, can you tell us a little bit more about your personal story and the why behind your work?
Absolutely. So my why really starts with I've always wanted to help people. And that has certainly evolved and changed since I was an undergrad student to now. So when you really mesh all that together, I think that's a great recipe for an entrepreneur. And once I really discovered that about myself, it was easier to lean into that and really recognize that I can scale my reach in how I want to help people in a much different way, but a much more exponential way.
That's a great point that, it's always great to have that desire, that true desire to help people.
But what we really focus on is a firm code of ethics that we have at Paragon that's unwavering. It's objectified. So what I mean by that is we objectify the problem and get to a solution, and then we have the courage to do something about it. So we are consistent as possible in our commitment to our employees when things inevitably go wrong or inevitably things get heated, because we need to stick true to those three things. And that is what makes us a strong, united front in terms of our leadership, so that that can cascade down into our company. Because when you don't have that, it's the wild, wild west. It's people are worried about getting fired or terminated or written up for no good reason. And we knew we wanted to make more, but we really couldn't justify the cost unless we were going to find a way to commercialize it. Sure. And that sounds not terrible in a business sense, but the more we think about it, it's like we want to get this out there to the masses, and we want to be able to help other people, because we've essentially made this now virtual reality platform that is very robust in our categories and very diversified in what we can offer, because in virtual reality we can create literally anything that we want and make it fun and engaging and interactive, where we really saw a need for our teenagers, young adults, and even our children to learn these skills in a way that's in a safe in a controlled environment. So we have what we offer is a subscription-based platform where, just like a streaming platform, you would log in on whichever device you would want. So computer, tablet, headset, wherever you can access the internet. So you log in, and then you, much like a Netflix streaming service, you just go in and you pick which module you would want to launch. So there's like a little icon, there's a little button. It says, I think it just says launch or something like that. So all the things that would be very difficult to do in person, we can do in VR in a safe way. And then we have two new categories coming out, which is emotion regulation, which by the time this airs, we'll have a complete 6-week course to take somebody from A to Z through a cognitive behavior interventions over the course of 18 modules. And our hope is to show and demonstrate through our clinical trials that we're starting that we're decreasing depression and anxiety over the course of 6 weeks. So we're shortening the length of time in therapy. And then we're also adding exposure modules. So fear of animals, or fear of heights, or fear of loud sounds. We can expose people in virtual reality in a very safe and controlled way. So we actually just got into a school where if a kiddo's having a hard time in a classroom, have an aide sit with them in the back in a computer, put the headphones on and do our deep breathing module instead of sending them down to the principal's office to sit in a chair while they eat.
Yeah.
It's not sufficient. So you really just need the internet and a device that can access the internet. So my favorite party trick is pulling it up on my cell phone and being able to show people, like, listen, you can just do this on your cell phone, a tablet, a computer. Yes, of course, you can do it in any VR headset, which we recommend because it
Yeah.
really is immersive as you experience it. It's really neat and it looks three-dimensional and you feel as if you're there. And that really limits any distractions. But if you're in a pinch or in a budget constraint and you just need to use what you have, we are web-based, so it's completely versatile.
And what was
Yes.
amazing, and we all know this, but what was amazing is these the kids could put on the VR goggles and very much become part of the immersive experience. It was very
Oh,
natural
yes.
for them. There's no learning curve or hesitance in any way
Hmm.
whatsoever. And that's such an advantage for your product because it's super cool and it's
Yeah.
technology and it's something that kids are not hesitant to use.
And it was a really great to see that everybody from little guys all the way up to older adults um, found it was, and we made that on purpose that way because little kids won't mind if it looks more realistic, but adults certainly will. So we didn't
Hmm.
make the visuals look juvenile for that reason because we wanted to extend it into adulthood and have
Okay.
adults be able to participate as well as kids. So, and you saw the graphics, they're very the artwork and the graphics that we use and the way we shoot things and the way we use different generated backgrounds is in a much more realistic manner.
Hmm. It's interesting that you say that kids are not bothered by realistic, but adults are. Why is that?
Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. I think adults would be bothered by a blocky animation.
Oh, okay. Got it. Well, how about the end of 2023 over the next few months? What's your target? Where will you be at?
So I really hope to be in at least 100 different facilities, whatever that may look like, either whether it's a school or a behavioral health clinic or a hospital
Hmm?
or a prison. So we actually got a lot of feedback. We met a woman who's in charge of the reunification division in the federal prison system,
Hmm.
who's strongly considering Catapallo for next year, so 2024. So that would be huge if we could, help the prison population. Because, like I said, we're working with neurodiversity with a lot of target of our modules, but we're also having those very strong cognitive behavior therapy interventions integrated, where we really hope to simultaneously reduce anxiety and depression. That's very comorbid with neurodiversity. That's my goal, at least. And we're going to go back through the first set and incorporate some feedback that we've received that I think will make them even better. So, yeah, we're
That's
really excited. So, if you know anybody that could benefit from that, I'd love to hear from you. And we're really, really excited to get this out there.
That's fantastic to have 60. That's a lot more modules than even when we just met. That's great.
Yeah,
Well, Kryn, thank you so much for joining us
thank
today.
you.
Yes, we will have all of Dr. McClain's contact information and CatapalloVR information in the show notes, so be sure to look for those. But thank you again so much for joining us today on the Village Vision podcast. I'm so grateful that you shared your story, your experience, and that you're clearly constantly learning from Paragon now to Catapallo VR, and that's what's really fun, right?
Yes, it is. It's a constant learning every day, and like we talked at the conference, just really always thinking strategy and always thinking how can we improve, how can we better, how can we stay consistent, and
Yeah,
that's really the key.
awesome. Well, thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for joining us on this episode of the Village Vision podcast. I hope you found inspiration and valuable insights from our conversation today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, rate, leave a review, and share. But thank you for being a part of the Village Vision podcast. Take care, and let's keep shining a light on the power of community, collaboration, and care.